Alright, what's good gamers? BloodElf941 here, back with another weapon review video. In this one, we're going to be going over the Lethal Abundance auto rifle. But before we get too deep, if y'all could click like and hit subscribe as well, that would be very, very cool of you. I put out 2 videos a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at noon Eastern time, and I'm very, very happy to say that I think I'm going to stick to that schedule next year as well. So I'd appreciate if y'all would stick around for that. Thank you very much. So, the Lethal Abundance auto rifle is a 360 RPM high impact frame auto in the kinetic slot that does strand damage. It comes from Iron Banner. If I manage to get this video out in time, you should be able to just head to Saladin and focus your engrams. If you don't, still need to get that air trigger chill clip Tinashes. Otherwise, it can drop from matches as long as you've unlocked it in collections. I think. I don't know, man. I've got it unlocked because I want to get the shader from the second Iron Banner rep track, and they don't let you reset it if you have unclaimed items, so I added it to my loophole. There aren't very many high-impact IRs in the game, so I'm throwing it up against the most recently added options. Abyss Defiant from Crota's End, Age-Old Bond from Last Wish, and Lodbrok C, which is a Hake weapon that is focusable at Banshee based on his daily rotation. Of the 4, it doesn't really stand out anywhere. Its best stat is reload speed, but if it's at the top end or bottom end of a stat, it's by a single point. Nothing too crazy, but like the rest of the high impact family, it can hit the range cap fairly easily. Lethal Abundance more so than the others due to its ability to roll accurized rounds. Fun fact, if I was rating or had the patterns for it, I'd have done the video on Abyss Defiant due to the request of a regular viewer. Shout out Glowy Boy. But unfortunately, I couldn't make it on that one, so I apologize. Hopefully this is good enough. On paper, it's perfectly fine. Great, even. But in practice, no joke, I think I picked the worst possible time to do a video about a high-impact auto. The current sandbox is all about sitting in the back of the map with a pulse rifle, safely laning, and not moving as much as possible. Now, this is an extremely far and hard-hitting auto rifle, but it's not out-fighting pulses at their own game, assuming you're fighting somebody playing the right way anyway. So if you're looking for a weapon to combat the current terror of Shax's domain, this ain't it. Not by a long shot. Let's take a look at the perks and see if we can't break this bitch open somehow. In column 3, you've got Discord, Enlightened Action, Keep Away, Dynamic Sway Reduction, Elemental Capacitor, and Slice. Discord is best used on special weapons to break the ammo economy in PvP. It's not really that useful here. Enlightened Action helps the poor handling stat of this archetype of weapon, and it doesn't require any change in your playstyle, so it's a pretty good option. Keep Away, I have said before that Keep Away is a perk that is uncontested in its quality, but since this weapon can hit the range cap, you actually don't need Keep Away as much. Like, yeah, the accuracy cone boost is great, and the reload is nice, but if you're sitting at 100 range without it, it's not all that worth it. I love Dynamic Sway Reduction. I've talked about it before. It's probably not that amazing with how little the between-shot recoil is on this frame, but this is a dueling weapon, so anything that helps keep you on target while you're getting shot at is great. Nothing special about Elemental Capacitor. No synergies, no must-have stat thresholds, it's just kind of eh. And Slice is specifically if you are on a hunter, and if you really, really need Sever for your build to work in PvP. Otherwise, you can completely ignore this. And to be honest with you, if you really, really need Sever for your build to work in PvP, I think you might have other problems. So I would not recommend going out of your way to get a Slice one of this for PvP. DSR and Enlightened Action are your best options. Neither requires playing any different than you would normally. Everything else can be ignored unless you've got a very specific synergy in mind. I think I put too much stock in DSR, so Enlightened Action's the best one here. Realistically, you can kind of ignore column 3. It's not really going to do enough. In column 4, you've got Target Lock, Tap the Trigger, Hatchling, Collective Action, Onslaught, and Attrition Orbs. So, Target Lock, it's very funny, I've talked about Target Lock a lot lately. This perk makes unusable weapons function. I don't think I've seen it hit the point where the damage goes above 42, or if I have, I haven't noticed it. But it takes 1 shot off of your time to kill, so that's pretty nice. But I've also know that I've tried using a Lethal Abundance that was exactly the same, but instead of Target Lock, I had Onslaught, and I couldn't even begin to get this thing off the ground. I couldn't win my 1v1s. So even if it might not actually take effect until right when it's about to be too late, I don't know, man. it made it work for me, so all I can speak to is my personal experience. From now on, I think I'm treating target lock like I do keep away with other weapons, where it's just the de facto best option, and you can't really go wrong with it. And any gun that can take advantage of it, it is just insane. A stupid perk. Stupid perk. Tap the trigger is not really needed unless your stability is in the shitter, like, it's negative. And your stability is kind of low on this, but I love hatchling, just not in any situation where I'd be using this firearm. It rocks in 3s and trials matches where engagements are a little more spaced out, but I believe this is a weapon for 6s, despite how well it performs in the 1v1. There's synergy with Warlock stuff and some fragments, but I really don't think it's going to do enough when I want it to, if that makes sense. Collective action is actually really good on this, especially now. Stasis shards generated galore in the current sandbox because it's a stasis focused season, and a 10% damage boost lets you 5 crit at tier 8 Resil and lower, which is better than target lock actually, so it's pretty fucking good. I've talked about Onslaught before, and I stand by what I said last time. Not great on weapons with low mag sizes. It can snowball into something amazing, but people need to really misplay for you to pop off consistently. Now, Devour is making a comeback in the meta, so if you're doing a pure Void Devour build on Warlock, I can see it working out really well, but otherwise there are better options. I haven't found success with Onslaught personally on this gun, so maybe it's just because I'm bad, but I wouldn't do it. And Attrition Orbs is not for PvP. Okay, your options are target lock or collective action, and I personally wouldn't rely on collective action in a season that isn't stasis focused just because that constant uptime is not as easy to get. But if you're generating shards like crazy, even if it's not this season, collective action is going to do very well for you. That 10% buff, like I said, is fantastic. It takes a shot off. You 5 crit. You 5 crit to the head. That's much better than 5 crit 1 body. Yeah, I don't know why the fuck I didn't mention this in my initial recording, but the origin trait on this is like one of the best PvP origin traits in the game. Skulking Wolf takes you off of enemy radar if you get a kill while at low health. I think it's like 90 HP is the threshold for it. It also boosts your radar as well. It's really, really good, especially for dueling weapons like this that you have to like trade your health out as a resource. Like 80% of the time, you're going to be fighting somebody, they're going to shoot at you, you're going to take some damage, and you're going to kill them because you're just a god gamer, and then you're off enemy radar. That's fucking crazy. Skulking Wolf is such a fantastic PvP origin trait, and it literally only works in PvP, I think. Really good. Fantastic. All Iron Banner weapons have like god tier origin trait. Hell yeah. As far as pairing options go, shotguns fit perfectly, precision frames in the energy slot are pretty common and very good. Matador, Scavenger's Fate, Compass Rose, Duality if you're like me and you like that gun a lot. You could probably get away with an Anonymous Autumn as well. Maybe if you want to use an SMG, though I personally wouldn't do that just because 2 fully automatic weapons is not really something I want to do. Maybe you want a sniper rifle, but then I think you're giving up a lot in the close range. The rest of your kit's going to have to make up for it, so just I personally would go close range on this, and you've got a lot of good options to pick from. So I originally thought I was going to hate this gun, and this video is going to be a montage of failure. I dislike this archetype of weapon, specifically when it's an auto rifle. If I'm going to have a hard-hitting, slow-firing gun, I'd rather have a 120 hand cannon or a scout rifle so I can fight from further away. And the current meta as well, it seemed to be the most uphill of battles that I'm ever going to try to do, at least on paper. Not just fuck the meta, I'm having fun with weird shit, but literally using the worst kind of gun to combat the pulse rifle firing squad that we find ourselves dealing with. Surprisingly, Lethal Abundance got hands, and it isn't even difficult to throw them around. I found myself taking fights that I very much should not have been able to, and at least trading myself out in the 1v1. If I'm finding success on Dissonance of all maps, I think I can speak to just how good this turned out to be. It's not top tier by any means, and you'll be hard-pressed to find yourself in a situation where you only found success because you're using this specific gun, but it's not as bad as it seemed. I still find high-impact auto rifles to be the most boring frame on the most boring weapon type, but this surprised me significantly, and I'm very happy to still be having those moments of discovery a decade deep into Destiny PvP. But with that, that's going to do it for me today. I'm not entirely sure how people are going to feel about this weapon. I've heard nobody talk about it, especially now, because it is an older weapon. It's from last season, I think, maybe before. I don't even know when this came out, to be honest with you. I don't really care for auto rifles, and when it comes down to it usually, which is really funny considering my most viewed video is a review of an auto rifle. But I don't really care for auto rifles too much. I find them to be relatively boring, and like I said, high impacts, I find them to be especially boring. This definitely surprised me, and I think it's a lot better than I gave it credit for initially, but I don't think very many people are liking them all that much, so... But I could be wrong, and I'd love for you to let me know if I'm sleeping on anything in those comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.